So, it has been said that within Christianity that there is not a proper representation of the feminine principle, that it tends to be represented in figures like the Virgin Mary. There just doesn't seem to be, and even then it's represented in a rather one-dimensional light figure. So there doesn't seem to be a full representation of the feminine aspect, which causes a psychological psychological asymmetry in those who have Christianity as a structure in their psyche. So my proposition is that there is one, but it's not as straightforward as it seems. But when you see it, you can't unsee that the entire feminine is represented in all of its glory. The shadow feminine, the the dark feminine, the light feminine, all of it is represented in Christianity as the people. So, Jesus' counterpart, feminine counterpart. There are different ideas of what Jesus' feminine counterpart, who she was or is, but what is stated explicitly is that the church is his counterpart. People also use the concept of Israel being the church, but over and over again, groups of people are considered the feminine, a feminine being made up of many people, including men. So my concept that I'm proposing is that the actual concept of masculinity in the Christian mythos is kingship, Jesus being the ultimate king, but other kings and governmental figures, structural governmental figures, whether they be kings or governing groups, represent the masculine principle. The feminine principle is represented in the people being governed, the people of the king. So when an entire people is struggling, for example, here we have the feminine aspect represented in shadow. Currently, I'm writing a book that takes my internal complexity, taking the concept of write what you know, right? But I'm scaling it up to the size of a people. Then I begin to understand how a single woman could be mapped to an entire nation. And we could even reverse engineer that. But my thought here is that never been underrepresented, but it's been misunderstood. And that the feminine principle is so complex that it can't be understood it can't be fully understood unless you're able to actually scale it up to the extent of an entire nation. Yeah. So whether this be the church, whether it be a nation like Israel, or whether it be a group defined by some other kind of, of, kind of connecting factor, the seemingly conflicted, but yet at all times united in ways, body of people as a whole is truly the bride of Christ, is the feminine principle that is actually fully represented in Christianity. And when we look at it like that, the core new, I don't know if it's actually new, but the core archetypal mechanism being understanding through scaling from the idea of a single woman to an entire people, and from an entire people to a single woman. And that archetypal alchemy, giving a greater understanding of what is the feminine truly.